I'm Maurice. I feel somewhat like a fish out of water because my knowledge of housing is minimal. My knowledge of homelessness is my life experience of the past 18 years of working among the homeless and marginalized. What I wanted to share today is I'm the day manager for Camp Hope. Just to give you a little quick background, my family and I went bankrupt back in about the year 2000. We were effectively homeless. Fortunately, due to friends and family, we didn't have to sleep in our car. But my daughter had to leave and go move in with her grandparents so she could finish her senior year at Shale High. And my son had to drop out of Eastern. He went back later and got a computer science degree. Kids doing well. My daughter's now a Presbyterian pastor in St. Louis. But that experience drove me into the West Central neighborhood where I worked with several ministries, and one in particular, I was the food guy. And I had to round up food for 150 to 300 people, depending on what time of the month it was, to feed them every Monday night. And that led to my involvement with the group that was talking about where we can get more food from marginalized. I made some suggestions. They said, why don't you join our leadership team? I said, great, what am I leading? And that eventually evolved into Feed Spokane, which is a food rescue organization that I co-founded and then served as executive director for about 5 years, served on the board of Truth Ministries with Marty and Julie McKinney for about 10 years, and have spent really the past 18 years hip deep working among the homeless and marginalized. About 4 years ago, serving on the planning committee for the Spokane Homeless Connect, which is the largest homeless services event in Eastern Washington once a year in January. It's coming up next Wednesday at the Convention Center. I served on they put up with me on the planning committee for the past 5 years. And back in 2019, I had this crazy idea of making a documentary about the Homeless Connect. And so I did. I won't give you all the details. You can find it on our YouTube channel, My Road Leads Home. And that's kicked off the past 4 years of making documentaries on homelessness. I've made 6 full-length documentaries, a handful of documentary shorts, and I'm a community producer for community-minded television, which is Comcast Channel 14. So you can find all of our stuff there. And if they don't have it, it's on our YouTube channel at My Road Leads Home. Did I need to say that again? My Road Leads Home. So go to YouTube and take a look. And what I want to do right now is I blindsided the 80 folks with a last-minute request to run one of our clips. And you're going to, hopefully, we're going to see segment 2 of, out of about 8 segments that I've done on Camp Hope. And this one's entitled The Truth About Homeless Camps. So if Steven Spielberg up there is ready to run the projector, let's see if we can watch that. Hopefully there's audio.
White Sea is the largest homeless camp of its kind in the state of Washington in late July of 2022 when this footage was filmed. Sitting on a single city block with 623 residents, the population of Camp Hope was greater than the population of Sprague, Washington with 511 residents, Reardon, Washington with 471, Edward, Washington with 470, or Harrigan, Washington with 433. Homeless camps aren't anyone's favorite alternative homeless service, but they do represent an integral part of the homeless community. They make an engaging optic for local news outlets and for great social fodder for people who don't understand why they exist. How do they get started? Why is a homeless camp even necessary? Why don't these people just go to a shelter and access all of the services that might be available there? Homeless camps like this one on Washington State Department of Transportation property in Spokane embody a visual illustration of poverty in the heart of the middle-class urban landscape and offer a visual testimony to the failure of homeless policy over a period of years. Like the proverbial canary in the mine, Camp Hope signals a housing crisis that has pushed a growing number of people from housing to homelessness.
I wanted you to get a visual of what Camp Hope was in July of this year. Now the camp has since shrunk. You can't see it from the fence yet because we haven't pulled the fence in. But we've gone from 623 people down to under 200. And we've done it the right way, moving people into better options, into housing. We've bought bus tickets to send people home to family and other communities. We've moved people over to the Catalyst Project. We've moved people to the trench shelter. We have asked people what they need, and we have tried to respond accordingly. What's it going to take to get you out of here and into some form of stability? I'm the day manager of the camp, one of three actually. Regina Thompson manages the resource tent and shares the day management responsibilities. And then Ken Prairie, who's the director of operations for Jules, is the other day manager of the camp. And I just want to acknowledge Kenny's back there, wave. Ken is one of my favorite people. I call him, my nickname for Ken is Dog. That's a very endearing term because when it comes to defending and supporting and believing in our homeless folks, he's an absolute pit bull. And so Dog, I love you, I love what you do, and I love how you love our people. Next to him is Jason and Julie Garcia of Camp Hope fame and notoriety. And we have a couple of our peer people, DJ and Cheryl. They are our peer support folks, and we have several. We couldn't do what we do without peer support. Those are folks with lived experience who literally look somebody in the eye and say, I've been where you are, I spent X time in prison, I was addicted to drugs, I have these kinds of lived experience. If I can get out of it, you can too. And so they do incredible work walking alongside people who don't trust easily. And they earned the trust of the people that they work with, and that really is key. What I want to talk briefly, I didn't start my clock, so you'll have to let me know when time is up. I want to talk just quickly about what I call lessons Camp Hope taught us. We're still in the process of learning these lessons, and they're more than I've only got 17 written down, so I obviously don't have all the lessons written down. But I just want to start with something that I call From Chaos to Cosmos to Shalom. So in a wonderful book, Walking on Water, Reflections on Faith and Art, author Madeline Lingle describes the work of the artist, and particularly the Christian artist, as bringing cosmos, order, out of chaos, it's disorder. Welcome to working among the chronic, unsheltered homeless. Meaningfully addressing homelessness is an ongoing exercise in bringing cosmos, or order, out of chaos. We work with the unsheltered homeless to assist them to move up the steps from their current chaos and survival mode of existence to a place of personal cosmos, order, stability, even shalom, that's peace, wholeness, and well-being. This movement from chaos to cosmos is different for each unique individual, and this means doing the hard work of offering them appropriate options rather than any cookie-cutter solutions. And that's essentially what we do at Camp Hope. We have, let's say, under 200 people there now, but at one point we had 623 people whose lives, individually and corporately, were chaos. That's why you're in a homeless camp. Not because you are orderly, but because your life is in chaos. There are a variety of reasons for it that we could get into, but working with that population is about bringing order into their lives, helping them out of the chaos, helping them make better choices, decisions, giving them better options to choose from, counseling them. I just had a couple, Karen and Troy, bless their hearts. Karen came up to me yesterday, looked at me and said, Maurice, I finally got into the Catalyst. And I said, congratulations, Tom, that's great. Gave her a big hug, we talked. I said, now, I'm going to be your pastor for just a minute. You and Troy got to come together and deal with your issues. When they have a fight, everybody in the camp knows it. They walk down the fire lane fighting and yelling at each other. Those are survival skills that you learn out there. I said, you've got to master those. You've got to come to terms with it. Do not lose that's bringing cosmos, order, out of their chaos, so that they can move, hopefully one day, to a place of shalom, where they will be at peace. They will be out of the camp. They'll be in a better place. And they'll be able to not survive, but to thrive. That's my prayer for them. Lots of other lessons. I wish we could go through all of them. Things like optic, narrative, and tone matter. What we see about homelessness, what we hear about homelessness, the tone that we set about homelessness. We live in a community that its leadership has basically waged open warfare against the homeless. When you call them nuisances, and criminals, and drug addicts, and those people living in squalor, those are not the words of peace. Those are the words of war. It's how you describe your enemy. It's not how you describe your friend. And so optic, narrative, what we see, what we hear. We live in a generation that listens with its eyes and thinks with its feelings. We do. We listen with our eyes. What we see is what we hear, and how that makes us feel. That becomes our truth. And so if the only thing, this is why I do documentaries, if the only thing our community ever sees is homeless train wrecks and people on drugs. And we were on an outreach one night with Jules Hill, Helping Hands. It was snowing, this is in December, and we saw an individual half naked dancing in the snow. And of course we stopped, went around the block, came back, and he needed clothes is what he needed. And of course I was filming the outreach, and I put my camera down because I told myself, this isn't fair. It's not fair to film someone in their worst moment. And then to say that's who they are, because that's not who they are. That's their current circumstance. But if that's the optic that we show, then people think, oh, those crazy homeless people, that's what they do. He's high on drugs and blah, 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 blah. And that's homelessness. Yeah, he was homeless, and yes, he was high as a kite, and dancing to music that only he could hear. But it wasn't fair for me to film that and to say, this is homelessness. No, that's a person struggling, and it's not fair to make him the poster boy for homelessness. So the optic matters, the narrative, the story of people. We have 16 veterans who've been in Camp Hope, one of whom is a Vietnam veteran with 4 Purple Hearts. I didn't wind up in a homeless camp with 4 Purple Hearts. What's the story there? So we need to change the optic, the tone, the narrative, all of these things. These are some of the lessons that we don't want to lose from Camp Hope. And I'm being told my time